Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good day, good evening, depending on what time zone and on what part of the world you are listening to us. My name is Fru Nkimbe. I am host and producer of African Hour, coming to you from Boston, Massachusetts, USA. We have a cross-section of knowledgeable panelists on my show. African Hour has been on the air since 2000. African Hour does not control what our guests and panelists say. Today's guests come with a lot of knowledge, the current political and the election in Cameroon, giving our own personal opinion as Cameroonians from outside of the country. I would like to give an opportunity to my guests to introduce themselves. From Maryland, Baltimore, USA, is Barrister Harmony Bobga Mbuto. Barrister, welcome on African Hour.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
From Boston, Massachusetts, Dr. Julius Tabe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fukimbe.
From Boston, also is Celestine Fondongala. Mr. Fondongala, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I will give each and every one of you an opportunity to introduce yourself to my audience. Barrister Mbuto, please.
Yeah, I'm a Bamenda-based lawyer for the last 36 years on exile in the United States on account of the Amazonian struggle, which is still going on to liberate ourselves from the claws of La République establishment and her collaborators masked by them, but whom we know as foreign interests. So I look forward to having a lively discussion with the other panelists and the moderator.
Thank you very much. Dr. Tabi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fru. You already introduced me. There's nothing to add. My name is Julius Tabe. I live in Boston and I practice medicine in the state of Massachusetts. And thanks for the opportunity to share my own insight into the political situation in Cameroon.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Mr. Fondongala, you are welcome on African Hour.
Yeah, thank you again for having me. Celestine Atemken Fondongala. I live in the state of Massachusetts. I'm an electrical engineer by trade. I've been very involved with African politics, with knowing where we come from, where we're going. Living in the United States has allowed me to expand my knowledge about geopolitical situations. I'm very delighted to contribute my own little that I know. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that introduction. I think we are eve of a very, very important decision in Cameroon. It's more or less like an earthquake. We as citizens from that part of the world, and we are equally concerned as to the future of our country, because the wind of change is blowing all over Cameroon and everyone is praying and yearning for a peaceful outcome of what is going on. Gentlemen, I like to, for discussion, to look at it from outside and give our own opinion and input what we expect of our land of birth. Over to any of you. Any of you can start.
Thank you very much again for the opportunity. I think from what we see in terms of the message coming from the Cameroon government and their outlet, which is the CRTV, and all the police deployment and soldiers on the streets, we know what they are going to declare. The Constitutional Council is going to declare that Paul Biya is the winner. Now, it depends on the next steps, or what happens next depends on how, whether the true winner of the elections, because based on all the reports from the polling station, Issa Chiroma is the winner. So what happens next is going to depend on whether this winner and their supporters are ready, willing, and able to defend their victory. If they are not ready, willing, and able to defend their victory, then it's going to be another case, a repeat of Frundi and Kamto. Now, talking about how the population reacts, if I'm advising the Southern Cameroonian, I would say let French Cameroon deal with it in terms of going out to defend the victory of Issa Chiroma, because the soldiers are always hesitant to shoot at the Francophone, but they will not hesitate to kill as many Southern Cameroonians in Boy and Bamenda as possible to serve as an example for the rest. So that's my take for now. I'll let the other panelists weigh in.
The floor is open, please.
Yeah, if I may chime in, we've witnessed the situation back in Cameroon, and it's very disturbing that this old government, I don't want to put an age to it, We all know how old the government is, from the presidency down to its ministers. Doesn't see value in the youths. That is very disturbing. We pray and hope that the situation will be different, that the rightful winner of this election will be given an opportunity to drive or to steer the country in a different direction. I do believe in the youths. I do believe in a change, that the wind of change that is going through Africa will not leave Cameroon untouched. As we put things in prayers, we hope also for peace, that there will be no violence, and let the conscience of those responsible, the electoral commission, election, that they should do the rightful thing, because history is staring them on the face. They have to do the right thing this time around. We've known the wrongs they've done in the past. Pray and hope that that doesn't repeat itself, because this is a different time for Africa. It's a different climate, and we are urging the foreign bodies, especially France, to stay out of this. Their influence in African affairs has really been detrimental to our development. So we hope that this time they will stay completely out of it and allow Cameroonians to handle the process. As I've said before, we're calling on the conscience of the Electoral Commission to do the right thing and not put pressure on themselves, as it's been done in the past. I will leave it at that for now.
I associate myself with, the contribution of the first two speakers. My take is that international geopolitics is very much in play at this point in time in the life of Cameroon. We have a number of predicaments. That is the predicament of Cameroon itself as a country that was declared independent on the 1st of January 1960, but has never been independent. It is even more critical at this time after France and the other members of NATO that have interest in the subsoil in Africa have lost the Sahel states. And Cameroon is the heartbeat of French Equatorial Africa, which pretentiously are called independent countries. What happens in Cameroon today will determine whether Africa itself is on the move, and that move is sustainable to liberate itself from foreign domination. Personally, I was born in 1958, that's in southern Cameroon. So it is only by circumstances beyond my control that I've ever carried the ID card and the passport of Cameroon, because I do not belong to that country. But on the flip side, we must recognize de facto that we have been all this while been yoked with the Republic of Cameroon. And when I put on my Pan-African lenses, I find reason to support the move, courageous move, which is even sacrificial, of His Excellency Issa Chiroma Bakari. I call him His Excellency because I am here to advocate not for myself, a 67-year-old, but for my children and their peers from the age of 35 should be ruling this country, like the Finnish, Swedish, Norwegian prime ministers. We have spent our time. We need to give way for these people to correct our errors and chart their future better and in total security of our resources. The advisory position is the best for us, the old people. It is on the strength of that Mr. Biya must go. Quite critical to Ambazonians is that all these years, 60 years plus, and counting, only Mr. Chiroma from the French-speaking Cameroon has acknowledged that we have a problem. There's no other politician, no other citizen of La République du Cameroun that has acknowledged that Ambazonia has an unsolved problem. It is on that basis that I give him my total support for his promise that we can sit unconditionally on a round table and have a discussion. I will urge the youths that, as some of us, their parents, are ready to hands off, they should stand up and defend their votes. Non-violent protest. And you can trust that the soldiers are youths as well, and they look to the future. I watched a video just about 15 minutes before now. The soldiers were marching on one side of the road in Garwa, and I think in Marwa and Garwa, and the population was marching on the other side. That is a good signal that the soldiers will not obey immoral order, and therefore the youth and the entire population should have the courage to go out and march. I stop there for now.
Thank you very much. I believe that my audience, some of them share the same concerns and ideas that you have shared. And I would equally really just throw that if you look up around Africa and the world, the wind of change is blowing. I wonder, Barrister, you have said that at this age, you are thinking of how you can advise your son, your children, your daughter to emulate what you have done, to look forward and to pass the baton into their own hands so that you become, as an advisor, as a parent, leading, guiding the next generation and building a prosperous future for a better Cameroon. As all of us look at the situation, the impending doom that is hanging in the air, how feasible do you think that wish, that prayer of us, of a peaceful transition, knowing what happened in 1992, what happened in 2018, are you not scared? All of you have said that we pray for lack of bloodshed because it's easy to spill blood, but no one can create that blood. Let us just share our own observation, our own feelings from our mother continent, our motherland, hoping that the voice of wisdom, the voice of our ancestors can walk through this electoral commission to respect the will of the people. Over to you, guys.
Well, just before my other panelists come in, I just wanted to correct something. ELECAM, the Electoral Commission for Cameroon, has finished its job. They have already handed to the Constitutional Council the results, which is not only being suspected, but is evidently doctored because they do not align with the raw results from the polling station. So what we are waiting for tomorrow is the pronouncement of the results of the election. And we don't know whether they are going to pronounce what the government side has put forward or they are going to pronounce the opposition results, which have a higher probative value. That is, in terms of evidence, they have a higher probative value on account of bearing the signature of every participant at the polling station. Meanwhile, the one presented by the government is like the difference between organic food and GMO food. While the opposition has the organic food, the government has the genetically modified results.
Thank you for that explanation, Barrister. It's good to have a legal luminary in our midst, and it's good that you have clarified that point.
Thank you.
Again, back to my panelists.
I agree with what Barrister Bob Gas said. Only that I will not describe the results from the polling station as the opposition version. That's the true version from the polling station. That's what the results are.
Right.
So whatever, that's what we expect ELECAM to submit to the Constitutional Council. So anything that is not those results then is doctored. And as he said, we are expecting, based on all the soldier deployment and everything they're saying, warning people not to go out, not to make proclamations, it is clear that they are going to declare Pobia the winner. And as the barrister said, we expect the youth to stand up, and as well as Mr. Fondungala said, we expect the youth to stand up and defend this victory because their future is tied to it. And we expect the soldiers not to follow illegal orders, shoot peaceful demonstrators.
Yes, that is a very good point because everything that this government does is hinging on the loyalty of the military, of the security forces. Our appeal here is for their conscience. They should realize that security is not only on one side. Security is for everybody. So the fact that the government is the one telling them to go on the street doesn't mean that they should commit atrocities. They should not look at the side of the people. They are there to protect the people. So it's good that Dr. Tabe brought that point up. At this crucial moment, as we have seen all around the other parts of Africa, the security should do a better job this time around because the situation is there. We need to see that Cameroon is presently in a deplorable, and the security officers can play a very big role. Please don't go out there and kill innocent civilians who are protesting their rights. You can protect them, let them do a peaceful protest. As we've seen in advanced countries, they don't kill anybody. They allow you to protest, and they can do the same. There shouldn't be a difference between the way our security forces act with the security forces of other parts of the world. So we're urging them to do the right thing and not listen to the powers that be to shoot down on innocent people. Checking the news this morning, there's a report that there's been some violence in Kululu, quarters there in Douala, and some civilians have been killed already. This is not good. We will pray that the conscience of this soldier should come into play and let there not be bloodshed. There's no reason why we should be killing anybody. Politics is here to stay, and we are mature enough to deal with rather than intimidate people. It's not called for. That would be my urge to the conscience of these people. At least let them rethink their processes. When they send you out on the road, it doesn't mean you have to shoot. You can shoot in the air to scare people. There are various tactics you can use. You can use tear gases or whatever. No reason why anybody should be killed.
I think if anyone is listening to all of us, you would definitely believe that these are voices coming from parents. And these are voices that value life. And also voices that are addressing the military, because the military are our brothers and sisters. They are not actually distant from us. And gone are the days, Africa, our brothers are really turning the guns down. You see from Senegal, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Chad, you see the wind of maturity, the wind of it's really blowing across Africa, knowing very well that Cameroun is Africa in miniature. The world is looking and seeing how that is going to translate. And we call on the voice of reason to let the voice of the people prevail. Vox populi, vox Dei. Say that power of the people is more important than the people in power. And when the people in power abuse and disregard the power of the people, it is definitely time for something to happen. So we pray that good should happen to Cameroon. Gentlemen, we have been watching the news from a distance, from various media, from various actors around the world. What is it that from outside can we, each and every one of you, look at it and examine the situation? Because there's a lot that is really not known, and we are just few hours away from either breaking it or being celebrated as a country that has weathered the storm. Let's look at it from that point.
Well, if you don't mind, I will kickstart this arm of the discussion. And I want to say we are victims of neocolonialism, because colonialism is said to have been ended, but it was simply repackaged. It is by accident that Ambazonia was not hamstrung like the Republic of Cameroon with the so-called Accord de Coopération, which actually granted independence with the right hand. France granted independence with the right hand and took all the power that they had during the colonial time with the left hand under the table. This said, the revolutionary relationship between the United States, the most powerful country in the world, and France, the silence of the international community, which is like a code instruction from NATO, is about 80% responsible for Biya's 43 years in power. And it continues to this moment that we are talking. Because if President Trump, as he always said, these are shithole countries because the people cannot vote proper leaders. And so if he made a statement that let democracy not be tampered with in Cameroon, Biya will not wait for the votes to be counted. He will pack his bags and leave. But if you follow the news carefully, none of these Western countries, not the United States, has made a statement. On the contrary, our brother, an African American, who is the general in charge of Africa, that is the military presence of the United States in Africa, he is the one who visited Biya recently. And as I watched in a report, he sent his report to the State Department that Biya had difficulty of mobility, but that he was still very sharp upstairs and run the country for the next 3 years. That to me is an endorsement of a dead horse who does not have the capacity of going through the democratic process of winning an election. There have been attempts, several attempts, up to this morning to abduct or kidnap the winner of the election. And thanks to the population, they did not succeed. We who are in the diaspora, we cannot say we are too distant from there. With modern communication, we are present on the ground. That is why they cut off network. But there are other means that we can communicate. We need to be alert. I'm not going to sleep this night until those results are pronounced. What we are saying here is that the international community is more interested in our subsoil, and they don't care. They don't consider us to be human enough to be protected. Yet they are pushing us away from Europe and away from America that has been built with African oil, African diamond, African gold, that we should go back to our country. Yet they don't want us to have a democratic process function like it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be happening in their own country. To them, I say, shame. When people find themselves in this situation, they can only stand up and fight. But as a non-violent revolutionary, I encourage the people to exhaust every possibility of being peaceful in this process. When we would have exhausted it, the story will be told, because any smart person has a plan B, a plan A, plan B, plan C. But this time around, they should forget it. We are not going to have a dead horse as a president. We need a trusted person who is willing to dialogue with the population and to give us a chance to hand over to the youth. I don't want the youth to come and pee on my grave. That you old man, what were you doing? Why didn't you challenge them? This is my own I'm doing the last 10 years. Over.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will just follow. I totally agree with what you said, and I'm going to add that I've been very disappointed with some of the foreign media outlets. Their statements sound like endorsement of the cheat of the rigging. Because I saw one, I watched one media outlet saying the opposition is claiming victory, but it looks like the President Pobia is set for another term. I mean, statements like that, that's an endorsement of the rigging. Yeah, so they are not helping us. They are actually supporting the dictatorship and actually carrying on with the propaganda of that regime. I've not heard or watched any foreign media trying to give an unbiased narrative of everything that's going on. They are just, everybody's saying, oh, BI is set to win. They describe him as the second longest presidency in the world. I don't know which one is the first. I thought he was the first. He was the longest. But it says second longest. And they say he's set for another term. They always say that. And then everybody knows he's going to rig the elections. And unfortunately, just like it happened in the time of Camto, the Americans and most of the European Union, they were the first people to congratulate him for election victory after the Constitutional Council read the results. So these people are not helping us. I don't think that Paul Biya can go out of power peacefully.
No.
The population has to stand up and defend this Isha Chiruma. There's no way this regime is willing to give up.
Yes, if I may add that the unfortunate thing that has happened to Cameroon, which if you look at it from hindsight, you say that Yaoundé is kind of landlocked in the sense that the tribe that is in power today is the tribe that owns that land, that area. So for the youths to actually penetrate their area in terms of any change, like we see moving through the Sahel region, for the military to do any takeover in that sense, it will be very, very difficult. So Cameroon's situation is unique in that, and so where our urge is really to the military. They have a big part to play here, and they should see how much Cameroon has deteriorated compared to these other countries. I used to remember in my days, being a young man, we used to see so many other Africans from different countries in our streets just to earn a living, because Cameroon was more like their own foreign nation, like people go to the United States, France, Europe, all these other parts of the world. They were coming to Cameroon as their own foreign land, where they could get milk and honey in the day. But that has changed drastically. That has changed. Cameroonians are going to those countries. And so we need to look, these leaders need, and we're really praying that they are seeing these, especially with the coming of social media. They have a lot of reports that they can search on their own and see what's happening in other countries. Unlike the days when the government media had monopoly of news. Today, the news is widespread. So no minister, no governor, no person in power can complain that there's no way they knew of what's happening. They have that information on their fingertips today. They can see what's going on in other really drastic changes that has happened in such a short space of time. That Cameroon should see that they should not be left out of this. So we're praying and hoping that they will look in that historical perspective and see that there's an absolute need for change. This pronouncement of the results tomorrow is key to that. Hopefully, the consciences of these individuals involved will come into the fore, and they will do the right thing. And to these leaders, they should realize that nature is of no mercy to anybody. You can be the richest person, you can be the most important person in the world, but one day you have to pass on. Now you have to think about your life. That spirituality that we talked about what is it going to become of you? What legacy are you leaving behind? So these are things that they should be thinking about. Life doesn't just end. I know people have different perspectives when it comes to spirituality, but I think some of these people are mistaken. That they think that once you drop dead here and everything is over. That's the biggest mistake to make. They should think about their own being after this end life, and do the right thing, at least for once.
Well, I think anyone listening to all of us will see that Cameroonians are very peace loving. You mentioned that we should think about afterlife. I wonder if you had told this to Nicolas Sarkozy in France when he had power, to think about what can befall him after he leaves that place, he would laugh at you because power is drunken. But I'm equally going to just say that, for the first time, you have a citizen, a candidate who comes across like a consensus candidate and acknowledge and accept that, yes, in our country, there is a problem. And that first, if I am president, I am going to conduct a national true conference for us, for Cameroonians, all Cameroonians, to sit around the table and look at all our issues. I mean, I think personally, looking at it from that point, and not only that, but a consensus candidate who addresses his people in a manner where all the Cameroonians can understand him. He addresses all of us, knowing that we are a big house, and he did not neglect any side by speaking so that we can understand his message in the language that each and every Cameroonian is comfortable with. So to me, I am equally praying for peace to reign. But as you mentioned, our generation is a social media generation. What happened in the past? Our leaders who think that they can control everything like it was in the past. Things have changed. If they really want to live a comfortable rest of their life, I think they should do the right thing and go in history as the guarantors of peace in Cameroon and respect the will of the people. If any of you think of anything else that you see, it's about patriotism, our country. Bring it for us to share.
Yes, I think I maintain my perspective that there are two Cameroons. There is the Southern Cameroon, which is Ambazonia, and there's the Republic of Cameroon. Like water and oil, we have been put together in a bowl. Why the water and the oil cannot mix and give a third solution, except you put some other elements and boil it like our popular Mankon Achu soup. What am I saying here? Cameroon is it's a mosaic of about 223 tribes and counting. At this point, I want to correct what Brother Celestine brought up, that Yaoundé is landlocked. You must understand that the center region essentially is Ewondo, but the ruling class under Biya is Bulubeti. And these are the people who have elevated tribalism to a cult. As early as today morning in Kiosi, boundary between the border between Cameroon and the mainland Equatorial Guinea. The natives there, engineered by the people of the right tribe, quote unquote, or the tribe in power, they started burning the business premises and properties of the Bamun, the Bamilikis, and other non-Bulubeti people. And I remember more than 20 years ago, one of the early generals that Biya named, I've just forgotten his name, he said they had the money, the arms, and the position. At any time that the rest of Cameroon doesn't want them, they can form their own state. But as Mr. Chiroma said, Cameroon is not the private property of any individual or any group of individuals. It is a common property. Everybody in the public office is a public servant, not a public master. You would understand that the corpse of Martinez Zogo is still in the mortuary. They can't bury him. None of those Bulubeti people could go to his village to campaign. I even saw right from my own village, some of my younger brothers singing praises Paul Biya because they have positions in their own. Truth about it is that nobody voted. If at all, it is only those who visited from Yaoundé. So who is fooling who? I don't know what their thinking is now, because change is going to come. If it is not on Monday, it is not going to take 12 months again. Change has come to stay in Cameroon. And I'm celebrating that change through Issa Chiroma Bakari, because I have someone that I can sit on one end of the table and deliver the legal history of Ambazonia and get his understanding. Then we flip into Pan-Africanism and begin to disappear the boundary between Cameroon and Ambazonia progressively after they have taken care of the damage that has been done to us, and not stop there, but go ahead, make sure that the boundary with Gabon, Congo Brazzaville, Central African Republic, Chad, they disappear, so that progressively we begin to build a new Africa. That is why I have said the Ambazonian struggle needs to be decoded. And this is the hour that everybody who claims to be standing up for Ambazonia, you need to be talking to one another. Organize yourself, because Cameroon does not have enough soldiers to be fighting in the east, in the west, and in the north. This is a special opportunity for us to assert ourselves. And if the Constitutional Council dares to announce a winner other than Issa Chiroma, I would advise that the coordination of the Union for Change go ahead and make the declaration firm, and they can even establish a temporary headquarters for Cameroon until the bandits leave Etudi, because they are a handful of bandits.
I think that my aspiration and the aspiration of majority is to seek a permanent solution to our problem once and for all. And I believe that according to all indication of the polls that were coming in live from all over the world and on the ground, I think that the elected president Chiroma has already opened the door that everything will be put on the table, and that is really a pathway to a permanent solution that will lead Cameroon into the future. I really like to thank my guests. As patriotic as all of us are, very few people will take the courage to go on the air and express their thinking, their patriotism, and how much we value peace in our homeland. I'm praying that those who are bloodthirsty should watch out, and calling on our military that they took an oath to defend the flag and also defend the citizen, and not defend individuals stay in power. As we wind down, talk to my audience. Let them feel your empathy on them, mostly those who are on the ground, and let's pray for peace. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kimeng, and thank you all for listening, dear viewers. I think that we have explored most of my take of how I think things should go. One last thing I need to add is what I expect from Issa Chiroma, if he's able to defend his victory, to begin to build some trust from Southern Cameroonians, because we are not going to abandon the resistance, whether it's Chiroma or any other person. But if Chiroma comes in, of course, there's some hope that he's willing to talk to, but he can start some goodwill gestures, as he has said, by releasing all our brothers who are detained for this, on behalf of this revolution, and also looking at certain things. If the process of negotiations and talks on a permanent solution is going to take a few weeks, a few months, then we can start by reversing a few symbolic things, like changing the name back to Federal Republic of Cameroon and putting the 2 stars in the flag. Then we can talk about the other things. He can start with and show some goodwill.
Yes, thank you so much again for having us. This has been a very active discussion. Yeah, for me to conclude, I will urge the entire Cameroonian populace to go on their knees, especially just before midnight, so that we can have this powerful, all overwhelming prayer for the nation, that let there be light finally in the tunnel for us. Let the Almighty come down on us, and let the spirit of of truthfulness come down on us, and urge the people or the powers that be to give the winner his rightful place. The only other thing I want to add is that some of this work was started by our present leaders in the Pan-Africanism, the likes of Professor PLO Lumumba, the likes of Dr. Adikana, and we should not fail them. They've been preaching these things and telling us, especially the youths, to rise up, to defend our future. I think the time is now for Cameroon. It will not be done by our own powers. We have to call on our ancestors. We have to call on the powers spiritually to help us in this drive. Time is now for Cameroon to lead its way to change. So we hope that everything be peaceful, that our prayers will be listened to. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those passionate, inspirational words. And
In fact,
Dr. Tabe, you actually brought something which is very important, that to show good faith, a sign of good faith. The aspect, and I equally heard candidate Chiruma talked about federalism. What kind of federalism is he dreaming of? And what you have just talked about, I believe that if we really need the true federalism, and knowing that the birth of our countries was out of federalism, and the manifestation of that federalism was the flag and the two flags. So that will really be a sign of good faith to indicate the kind of the federalism that we may hope for, which will, thank you. I hope that those who are aspiring to be leaders of tomorrow are taking note. Barrister, over to you.
To add to that, before Barrister goes, the flag change and the name change from Federal Republic was done by a presidential decree. So Chiruma has no excuse to reverse that decree. Thank you.
I am glad that Mr. Fondungala finally made a statement and referred to our ancestors, because especially people like himself and myself who went to strictly Christian colleges, our brains as far as spirituality is concerned was totally warped. But as we grow, we respectfully reconnect with our own traditional African mythology, which is even the foundation of what Christianity in the world is built upon. So to add to his point, to expand his point about invoking the spirit of our ancestors, I'm saying that without going out in public, particularly in all our chiefdoms in southern Cameroon, in the Lamida, in the north, and all over Cameroon, all members of Ngumba should have a meeting this night and pour the libation and invite the spirits of our ancestors in accordance with our traditional African spirituality to accompany us into the street to defend their children. Our God does not live in Rome. Our God does not live in Mecca. Our God lives with us. You'll be intrigued to know that the Africans knew about a universal God before all the Caucasian barbarians came to Egypt and started developing religious institutions and talking about universal God. We led the way. The other critical point is the legal history of the relationship between Ambazonia and the Republic of Cameroon. Even that federalism is absolute nonsense, because in Fumban, our people came and they made it a fiesta because they didn't allow a discussion of the substantive business that brought them there. And he just quickly closed it. Thanks to late Pambile and a few other opposition leaders from Southern Cameroon, they said, hell no, this business has not been completed. You promised us before we went for the plebiscite, and that is the reason why people voted to join the Republic of Cameroon, that we are going to create a federation of two states. That is the state of Southern Cameroon and the state of the Republic of Cameroon, and they are going to have equal standing. This did not happen. They rushed it. When they raised this objection, Ahijo said, it's not over yet. We are going to continue this discussion. It has never been continued. And as Dr. Tabe pointed out, a presidential decree does not replace a negotiated outcome according to the terms of the Memorandum of Understanding through the exchange of letters and the casting of the votes at the plebiscite. I have said there is no legal basis for the presence of the establishment of Cameroon's influence in southern Cameroon. And on the 16th of July 2016, I filed a petition before the Constitutional Council. At the time, the Cameroon Supreme Court was deputizing for the Constitutional Council that was yet to be set up and given its own premises. That petition requested for government to respond to the cry of common law lawyers. But I also insisted in the petition that the common law cannot survive in a continuum that is none other than the nation in which it was established, that is Southern Cameroon. So that petition is still pending. It has not been dealt with yet before the Constitutional Council. What we pray is that if Mr. Chiroma comes on board as the Constitutional Council, or whoever will be hearing the matter henceforth, to determine that case, it will bring us back to the unfinished business of Fumban, and we shall open up discussion. And as I've said repeatedly, we are not going to get excited about the change in Cameroon and throw in the towel without tying the knot on the legal basis of our interrelationship. This is the mistake we have made. And I said it, do not form governments because they will persecute you. Let us be strategic the way we are doing stuff. And today we end up with a hydra, about 4 governments and so on. I make the last call, or I saw a document signed by Marianta the representative of Seseku, Chris Anu, one other fellow, I am saying that you people have finally started thinking. Translate that into a concrete platform for Southern Cameroon by seeing yourself as representative of future political parties, and make sure that we have only one platform to negotiate. If you go in dispersed ranks, you are finished. I am saying I'm already at an age that is above the life expectancy in Cameroon, and I owe it to the youth to give them a better future. And this translates to, when we say we are calling on the youth to go to the street, parents, even if you are 70 years old, don't send your child to the street alone. Join them, because it is through your neglect that the children are faced with a mountain of evil called a government that does not represent them. So everybody with your dogs and your cats, go out to the street unarmed, their bare hands, after having made their confession about your own iniquities and gotten purification from your God and Maker. Go to the street. I guarantee it is going to be a success. Mr. Chiroma is not saying that he wants to be another president like Biya. He says he wants to be a transitional servant president. And that's why embrace him. But Southern Cameroon, forget about those your leaders who have turned themselves into wives in Yaoundé. Let the majority of the people stand up like one man, support the change in La République du Cameroun, so that we can build a new Central Africa, a new Africa, and the world will respect us. Thank you very much.
Power of the people is more important than the people in power.
Yes.
And I do believe with all of you who have shared your opinion that we need a permanent solution, and no solution can come at the barrel of the gun. And we, to be able to get that permanent solution, thanks to our forefathers who sent us to seek knowledge, and that we have legal luminary that will sit at the table of negotiation and carve out that permanent solution. And that permanent solution can never come from those who want to solve problems through the barrel of the gun. We are looking forward to the future, and we are joining our own voice, adding to the call for the voices of change. And that change is unstoppable. Train is moving, and we are praying for Cameroon, for peace to reign. I want to thank my guest, Dr. Julius Tabe, coming to you from Boston, Massachusetts, Barrister Harmony Bobga Mbuton from Maryland, and my brother Celestine from Dingala from Boston, Massachusetts. And I also like to tell my audience that you are listening to African Hour. African Hour is the voice of the people. We bring our guests to examine situations that concerns Africa and the world. And today we have been talking about the pending situation in Cameroon and praying for peace, and that the outcome should bring peace and stability in that part of the world, and also with change. My name is Fru Nde Nkimben. I am host and producer of African Hour. Thank you, all my guests. Thanks to my audience, and we look forward as we wait impatiently for the good news to come tomorrow. I cannot end this discussion without saying thank you to Almighty God, because as Barrister said, we start as Africans, we are spiritual, and we invoke our ancestors to guide us in whatever happens. So, any last words before we sign off, please? If you want my audience just to get your last remarks, I have 1 minute. I give 1 minute to each of you.
Well, we have been talking and we have not made any reference to our sisters and our mothers. No man is known to have gone and shed blood to produce life. So the greatest losers when people die, whether they are shot or they are sick before they die, are our mothers and our sisters. We ask our mothers and our sisters to pray, and pray real hard for the security of their husbands, their brothers, and their children who go out today to march and protect the popular vote. I say this because if I go by the slave Bible, King James Version, it is said in Genesis that God took just a rib bone from man to make the woman. But what people don't realize is that even though the woman is just one bone from a man's rib, God, because we are spirit beings and physical beings, God is a God of equity. What he has denied the woman, the physical bones, God has balanced it with stronger spirit. So the prayer of the women for their husbands, their brothers, and their sons is a lot more powerful. And I urge all women to go on their knees this night and pray that whatever the Constitutional Council had as an agreement with the Cameroon establishment should be overturned tonight, and let the Holy Spirit take control and let the right results be proclaimed, so that the blood they shed to deliver the Francophone children who were sent to be killed in a senseless war in Ambazonia. The Ambazonian children who have been slaughtered, from babies to old mothers, grandmothers, that their blood, like the blood of Jesus on Calvary, should be the price for peace and progress come tomorrow. And may God bless all Cameroonians and Ambazonians.
Barrister, you have summed it, invoking our mothers, our sisters, through our ancestors. And again, thank you very much. I am your host and producer, Fru Nde Kimben, coming to you from Boston, Massachusetts. So long and good night.
September 22, 2017. Mothers in Boya cried, mothers in Ekona screaming, mothers in Tiko wailing. Muyuka banenda kumbatiers and blood on the ground. Even women and children shot like beasts. We ask for English-speaking teachers, for English-speaking judges who know where we come from. But soldiers came from La République du Cameroun to silence our voices. They came to kill and kill, they kill. Their own people march, they are not killed. Anglophones march, we are slaughtered like sheep. Karua Dwala Jang, they march in peace. Bafu Sambangante, no mother weeps. Kuseri Bafang, they all still breathe. But when we march, we bleed, we are slaughtered like sheep. Now 2025, the story is retold. In La République, the streets unfold. They march for justice, they march for their leader, Isachi Roma. Not one single protester wounded or dead. But when our people cried for their rights, they sent the guns to end our lives. Two nations trapped in one disguise. The truth is clear before our eyes. Their own people march, they are not killed. Anglophones march, we are slaughtered like sheep. Garwa Dwala Jang, they march in peace. Bafu Sambangante, no mother weeps. Kuseri Bafang, they all still breathe. But when we march, we bleed, we are slaughtered like sheep. Yeah, 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 yeah. Mr. Chiroma, we remind you, let the referendum ballot speak once and for all. Shall we be part of the union or not? Shall we be part of a two-state federation or not? Shall we part our ways or not? Let freedom write on every heart. From the Biwa mountain to the Banana plains, we've carried too long this burden of pain. If justice leaves, let truth be told. Two people standing, brave and bold. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Their own people march, they are not killed. Anglophones march, we are slaughtered like sheep. Garwa Dwala Jang, they march in peace. Bafu Sambangante, no mother weeps. Kuseri Bafang, they all still breathe. But when we march, we bleed, we are slaughtered like sheep.